Hello and welcome, hardworking aspirants. Let's start this class with a fact and a small story. A fact that Pakistan initially did not had I in its name. Yes, P standard for Punjab, A meant Afghania, K meant Kashmir, S meant Sindh, and Tan stood for Balochistan. But afterwards, I was added, otherwise, it was Pakistan. And would you believe me if I tell you that there was a Indian Prime Minister who boarded a bus to an enemy country? Yes, to an enemy country just to make relationships better. It was Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. And while he was doing this, Pakistan was backstabbing, conspiring in Kargil. Yes, that is what we have got time and again. Indian PMs have tried to make peace and have dialogue with Pakistan. We see in the case of Prime Minister Narendra Modi even, he gave a surprise visit to Nawaz Sharif on his birthday and there was a marriage ceremony as well. But what did we get in return? We got Pulwama, we got Balakot, and very recently we also got Pahalgam. So this is the story that has turned with India trying a day again and again, and in return we got backstabs. But nonetheless, we need to go through the story. So today we are going to discuss India-Pakistan relations, Atal Bihari Vajpayee to Narendra Modi. So in between we'll have one more Prime Minister, and can you guess that? Well, it is none other but Manmohan Singh. So we are going to see this period from 2000 to 2025 and how this relationship with Pakistan on and off has shaped up and how things have gone on. So let's start with first and foremost with Atal Bihari Vajpayee. And when we see his foreign policy, you will see Vajpayee adopted a mix of peace, diplomacy, and firm response to terrorism. And in 1999, he initiated the Lahore Declaration, aiming for peace and nuclear restraint. Lahore bus visit, as I have already told you, by PM Vajpayee, a major peace initiative between India and Pakistan after both had conducted nuclear test in 1998. Okay, so that was the foreign policy. When you see key phases of the policy, so it will be the Lahore Declaration of 99, then aftermath the Kargil betrayal in May 99, then the Agra summit that will happen after the Kargil betrayal in July 2001. Then we'll have the parliament attack in 2001, again Pakistani sponsored terrorist, and the trade agreement and CDP. CDP was very important the last few years. What is CDP? We'll also see that. Okay. So if you see the Lahore Declaration of 99, what was it? It was based on few factors. Factors like nuclear risk reduction, factors like peace and security, mutual respect for sovereignty as for the Simla Agreement of 1972, and also for the cross-border relation where you needed to promote the trade, the culture, and the transport links. But aftermath of Kargil betrayal, if we see, so June, 3 months after the Lahore Declaration, Pakistani troops disguised as militants infiltrated Indian territory in Kargil sector of Jammu and Kashmir. And what they wanted to cut off NH1A, that is Srinagar and Leh highway, and isolate Ladakh and internationalize the Kashmir issue once again. There were two operations launched by India. You should remember the name: Operation Vijay, Indian Army's mission to reclaim infiltrated peaks, and also Operation Safed Sagar, that is Indian Air Force's role, only air operation after 1971 war. So it's important. You should remember that the Agra Summit, July 2001, took place. Here you had this dialogue from July 14 to 16, 2001 in Agra. It was an attempt to resolve this long-standing issue, especially Kashmir, and improve the bilateral relations. So, okay, following the 99 Kargil War and the 2000 Lahore Declaration breakdown. Main issue that will be discussed here, as always, will be Kashmir, will always be discussed time and again. You should remember that. And there were other issues also, like the prisoner exchanges and the confidence building measures, cross-border terrorism and all. As I said, the Kashmir will be common issue. Cross-border terrorism will also be a common issue. You should remember that. But the summit will fail because no joint declaration was signed. So that was the end of the Agra summit. Then we'll have the terror attacks and the responses coming up. So Indian government will respond. India accused Pakistan-based groups like Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Toiba of masterminding the attacks, and then they will demand strong actions from Pakistan. But what happens from Pakistan? Pakistan will never uh, see to it. Five armed terrorists drove into the parliament complex in the white ambassador car with fake parliament and home ministry stickers. They will attack on the Indian parliament, but Pakistan will not have any actions to do on that. We'll have Operation Parakram at that time, from 2001 to 2002. What was this Operation Parakram? We had nearly 5 lakh troops mobilized to the Indo-Pak border, and it was one of the massive, you can say, standoff that lasted 10 months, something after 1971, which was done for the very first time. But no full-scale war occurred at that time. That's something to keep in mind. Then we'll see the trade agreement or suspension and the CDP. CDP is something that you should understand. What is this CDP? It's the composite dialogue process. So it was a structured format to address all bilateral issues simultaneously, not just the Kashmir, but also confidence building, trade, and terrorism. Okay. And there will be some agreed baskets where they will agree to talk on the peace and security, Jammu Kashmir, Siachen Glacier, Sir Creek, terrorism and drug trafficking, economic commercial cooperation, promotion of friendly exchanges, and also the Vular barrage and the Tulbul navigation project. Okay, so these were few of the things that came while there was this meeting between Atal Bihari Vajpayee and Musharraf. And people to people or cultural relations were also told to be improved. There was this Samjhauta Express train service that started in 99 to promote the exchanges and the border issues will also be tried, that we can somehow, if calm down the border issues. And there will be this international mediation also. International community including the US and UK pressured Pakistan post Kargil and parliament attack. No direct mediation was there in between India and Pakistan. And there will be this nuclear test in 1998 by both the sides, India and Pakistan. And global focus post 9/11 on terrorism influence US stance on Pakistan. You should also remember one thing. It was the US always who funded the ISI of Pakistan, and one day it happened that those uh, military outfits, or you can say terrorist outfit like Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Toiba, that were indirectly being funded by US, attacked the US itself. So that is what US had to pay. And again, US is doing very same. If you see, after the Operation Sindoor and while this tariff is going on, there is something very serious which in coming up classes we'll definitely discuss. So next comes, after Atal Bihari Vajpayee, we have Manmohan Singh. And Manmohan Singh in his foreign policy will try to adapt peace through dialogue and economic cooperation. He believed in non-interruption of dialogue even during tense times. So this is something that we will see. The key phases of the policy, if you see the composite dialogue resumed from 2004 to 2008, there will be again an attack, 26/11 Mumbai attacks 2008. That will be a major turning point. Then Sharm-el-Sheikh summit 2009, something where it is said that it is regarded as a mistake of Manmohan Singh, and the resumption of dialogue 2011 onward, and continuing challenges from 2013 to 2014. So what were this composite dialogue will again start to resume. There will be this channels opened. Musharraf will call for 4-point formula on Kashmir, where you say no change in borders, demilitarization, self-governance, and the joint mechanism at that time. Okay, and there will be some key areas of cooperation where the action will be taken, will be Siachen, Sir Creek, economic ties, cultural exchanges. So all these things, remember from the fact that Manmohan Singh was someone who was an economist. Okay, so he will always try to build on the economy sector. So from that perspective, you should look the era. But then after that much effort of Manmohan Singh, we'll still find that there will be this 26/11 Mumbai attacks in 2008. where we will see that in Mumbai, Maharashtra, this coordinated multiple site of the terrorists will be attacked, and Pakistan-based terror group Lashkar-e-Toiba was involved in it. We lost somewhere around 174 people, including 18 security personnel and 26 foreign nationals, and over 300 were injured. And this was something which stalled again the diplomatic and the strategic responses, and the security reforms took place. Formation of NIA, that National Investigation Agency, was formed after this 2008 attacks, and then coastal and security and energy hubs and modernized police and surveillance systems. These are few of the things that happened after the attack of Ajmal Kassab and the other Pakistani based terrorist. Okay, now there will be this Sharm-el-Sheikh summit of 2009. This Sharm-el-Sheikh summit that took place 8 months after the 26/11 Mumbai attacks. On 15th non-alignment movement summit. This is the place in Egypt. So pressure Pakistan to act against terror group and resume the peace process. Okay. Demand credible investigation into 26/11, link Balochistan issues to counter India's pressure, and avoid full-scale breakdown of dialogue. But what happens here, why it became controversial in India? Balochistan mentioned, first time India officially acknowledges Pakistan's allegations about Balochistan. Then delinking terrorism and dialogue perceived as a softening of India's position. Then the domestic backlash, BJP and other opposition parties criticized Manmohan Singh for compromising national interests. So these were few of the points where it became a bit controversial. Then there was resumption of dialogue in 2011 onward. We will see re-engagement framework in 2011. We'll have security secretary level talks resumed. India liberalized visa regimes. Then cross LOC trade and travel improved, and the dialogue focused on economic ties, water sharing, and the terror cooperation. So again, please remember, Manmohan Singh, being an economist, he always wanted that the economic ties should remain good. Now, continuing challenges were always there. Ceasefire violations were happening. Terror networks like LET and Jaish-e-Mohammed remained active. And the impact, what was the impact? It halted the CBMs. Indian government praised Pakistan diplomatically and the hurt mutual trust. Okay, so that is the Manmohan Singh stance, and the key quote that you should remember: you cannot simultaneously be taking and adding the killing of innocent people. I would like to go to Pakistan. I want to make progress in our relations, but only in an atmosphere free of terror. That is what Manmohan Singh said. And PM Narendra Modi, when he started his foreign policy, his foreign policy was neighborhood first policy, but with a hardline approach on cross-border terrorism. Clear message: talks and terror cannot go together, and use of military responses, global diplomatic pressure, and control engagement. Key phases of policy, if you see, phase 1, diplomatic overture and early engagement will be there. Then there will be terror strikes and military responses, isolation strategy and legal coups. Then Pulwama and Balakot escalation will happen. Article 370 revocation and diplomatic freeze. We will also see back channel and ceasefire agreement, controlled engagement with caution, and lastly, recent developments 2025 that you have seen, Operation Sindoor happening. So Modi launched with a bold diplomatic overture. He will invite Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif to his swearing-in ceremony in May 2014 as a gesture of regional goodwill. And Modi-Sharif meeting at the SAARC summit Kathmandu displayed an early intent for engagement. Surprise Lahore visit by Modi in December 2015 to attend Sharif's family event, the first such visit in almost 12 years. This was also a potential thaw and generated diplomatic momentum. And we'll also see barriers will also emerge. Talks told when Pakistan's envoy met Kashmir separatists, that is the Hurriyat, leading Modi to call off official dialogue. And there were other engagements like the UFA summit in Russia, led to outcomes like NSA level meetings and delinking terror talks from Composite dialogue. That was also a thing involved there. Now there will be terror strikes and military response from 2016 to 2017 Pathankot airbase attack. India blamed Pakistan based Jaish-e-Mohammed. Now Uri attack, again 19 soldiers killed, Jaish-e-Mohammed militants again involved in it. India's response: for the first time India announced surgical strike in Pakistan administered Kashmir, and there will be the surgical strikes frequently, LOC firing, and We'll also see effectively ending the 2003 LOC ceasefire in both spirit and practice. And diplomatic fallout will also be there. Bilateral talks were suspended and India began to combine softer channels with visible hard power actions. After that, we will see isolation strategy and legal push. One of the bigger achievements of India was that India stepped up an international campaign to paint Pakistan as a global sponsor of terrorism, seeking to isolate at multilateral forums like the UN, G20, and Financial Action Task Force (FATF), where Pakistan was in grey list, and the efforts to restart dialogue or confidence building failed. And we'll also see there was this Kulbhushan Jadhav case where India took the Kulbhushan Jadhav case, an alleged Indian spy sentenced to death in Pakistan, to the International Court of Justice, reflecting a broader policy of legal contestation alongside diplomatic pressure. Now, after the Pulwama and Balakot escalation in 2019, what will happen? There was this suicide bombing by Jaish-e-Mohammed, killed 40 Indian paramilitary personnel. Indian Air Force struck a purported Jaish-e-Mohammed training camp in Balakot. Again, there will be this surgical strike and international reaction. The risk of escalation to nuclear exchange promoted what intensive global diplomatic intervention, especially by the US, UAE, and China, pressing both sides for restraint at that time. Okay, now Article 370 revocation and diplomatic freeze. Now this was something very significant done by the Modi's government. Jammu Kashmir's special status and statehood were revoked. Massive security lockdown in Kashmir followed. What was Pakistan's response? Pakistan expelled the Indian High Commissioner and downgraded diplomatic ties. Diplomatic freeze between both the governments, and Pakistan termed Kashmir an internal matter, and Pakistan internalized the issue with little over result in international dynamics. What were there? Major powers called for restraint, expressing concern over potential violence and the human rights. The back channel and the ceasefire agreement, if you see, so there were some of these ceasefire agreements happening in between. In 2021 it happened, and that the cautious people to people resumption that was thought to be started. Now why it was started? Because there was this regional partners like the UAE, they wanted to stabilize the relation and discuss core issues such as Kashmir, terrorism, and the trade and other things. But the diplomatic missions operated at reduced level, no formal dialogue, but consular and humanitarian issues handled quietly. Bilateral restraint will be there, and track to economic ties will also not be discussed that very well. Recent development, if you see, April 2025, Pahalgam terror attack killed scores of civilians. India directly blamed Pakistan-based militants. India launched Operation Sindoor in May 2025 with cross-border missiles and drone strikes targeting militant camps. And the military escalation happened. Pakistan's selling and drone engagement resulted first major use of drones in combat between the two countries. And you should also remember one thing, we'll be bringing a special class on this, that it was actually not only India and Pakistan who were fighting, but there were other nations who have given their weapons and they were experimenting, they were testing their weapons. And that is why you see today that tariff war that is going on, that is also related to this weapons. Okay, so we'll see that in detail, but let's just continue. So the recent developments, what happened after that? Rapid international mediations were going on, but India suspended the Indus Water Treaty. Yes, the very Indus Water Treaty, we have already done a short and a long video on this, so you can go and check it out what it was actually. And the diplomatic relations came to very lower between India and Pakistan after this Indus Water Treaty. And till now, today also we see there are many of the ministers of Pakistan who time and again give dialogues. There is this Asim Munir who doesn't even know how to talk properly, but what can be said about him? Forget it. Anyways, the transition from dialogue-centric policies to an assertive security-first doctrine signaled by military response to terrorism. So there was this Uri, Balakot, and Sindoor strikes happening, then diplomatic isolation of Pakistan at international forums. This Kashmir issue as at the center. Revocation of Article 370 marked a decisive redrawing of both internal and external policies and regional shift. US withdrawal from Afghanistan, China's rising stakes in CPEC have complicated India's calculus and reduced external leverage on Pakistan. So guys, this is something that we have seen. We started from 2000 from Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. I started with a story and I'll end it with a story. So it is said that when Vajpayee ji visited Pakistan, there was this lady reporter and she asked that Vajpayee ji, I want to marry you, but I want Kashmir, okay, for the marriage gift. And Vajpayee ji said that yes, I agree to marry you, but I want Pakistan in dowry. So that was the witty Vajpayee. And with that, we have come to the end of this class. There are a few questions if you are preparing for any examination, whether it's UPSC, whether it's state PCS, TSPSC, any other. You can go through by pausing the video. And also, if you want the PDF of these classes for free, you can join our Telegram channel and there you will get the PDF of our classes for free. You can also call the numbers. That numbers are displayed at the end of every slide that we are giving. If you have any question personally to me, to Deepika ma'am, to any teacher, if you want to ask any question or any question regarding the courses we offer, you can call there and ask. But before we go, a very quick info. If you're preparing for TSPSC or UPSC or for any state PCS exam, you should go for this one-on-one live mentorship by Deepika ma'am, who is having 20 plus years of experience and who has guided almost 100 plus aspirants to administrative services. And this is the number. Don't don't fail to call as soon as possible, and subscribe so that we meet again, and keep working hard. You will surely be successful. Thank you.